single engine Zaragoza 104.
Several calls there. Endeavour can reach a safe orbit on 2 engines now. The guidance system is controlling the engines to roll Endeavour to a heads-up position.
It is an absolutely remarkable thing to watch on a television, and being here in person, it will blow your mind. The power and the force to lift 25,000 pounds and break Earth's gravity and send the Space Shuttle Endeavour headed for the blue heavens above. And this has gone like clockwork. Every mark that NASA has set out on this mission so far, they have met to the moment, including yesterday on Sunday when they started a rollback procedure here at Cape Canaveral. They actually did it 15 minutes ahead of time. That's how anxious and how ready that so many and NASA were ready for this mission. And so far, so very, very good for the Space Shuttle Endeavour. With me, Tom Jones, astronaut in his own right, who has been on board 4 shuttle missions, and Gene Cernan, the former astronaut, the last man to walk on the moon. Gene, do you get jealous of the 6 men inside now?
Yeah, I do, Bill. I wish it were me. I'd like to give it another shot. Yeah, it's challenging. It's nostalgic at this point in time for Endeavour, and it's somewhat disappointing to think of what the future holds right now.
I think we call that astronaut envy, don't we, Tom Jones? Tom, give us a sense for what Mark Kelly, the commander, is doing at the moment. What's happening inside? What's the sensation they feel, Tom?
Right now, Bill, they're about in the last minute of the ascent, so you're being squeezed back into your chair with about 3 times the force of gravity. I weighed about 500 pounds at that point. If you're lucky and you can squeeze a moment away from the control displays, you can look out the rear windows of the cabin with your mirror and see the flickering exhaust flame wrapping up around the orbiter and the external tank. And then that's a startling sight against the black backdrop of space. And in the last 2 minutes of the ascent, Bill, you double your speed. So it's incredible how you can see this machine hurled into space like the fastest fastball ever thrown, going to Mach 25 times the speed of sound. And it's an incredible race to orbit in these last couple of minutes. It's one of the greatest physical thrills a human can experience.
There it goes.
I bet, and I can only imagine, too. We're watching liftoff again. This is a replay we saw live a moment ago. I think from an astronaut's perspective, this has gone by the book, Tom, and if you choose to disagree in any way, I'll allow you to do that in a moment. From a spectator standpoint, they were expecting about 500,000 up and down the Space Coast here on the east coast of Florida. The vision and the view they had of the Space Shuttle, it was short-lived. It entered into a layer of clouds shortly after liftoff, so watching that arc against the floor of the sky was something that was only grabbed for a matter of moments here. But Tom, is it right to say that this thing has gone off just as well as one could expect so far?
So far, so good, and one of my overwhelming sensations right now is how proud I am to have been a member of that team for 4 Space Shuttle launches. You know, the lucky astronauts get to fly to orbit and do their jobs, but the jobs that the rest of the team does in Florida and back in Houston, it really makes one proud to be part of that precision, that sense of professionalism that can propel our nation into space over and over again, and I hope to see us capitalize on that. The president ought to get up right now and say that we're going to the asteroids and to the moon and to build on this foundation that the shuttle team has laid.
Go, Tom.
Gene, would you agree with that? Is asteroid capture or landing on asteroid the mission or the goal that should be set out for NASA? Would it be going back to the moon, do you believe, or do you think we need to push for this mission to Mars that may come in 20 or 30 years?
Yeah, the answer to your question, Bill, is all of the above. I don't know about the asteroid. I'm not sure how valuable that is, but we certainly ought to be going back to the moon. We ought to go there with preparation to going to Mars. You know, this is the 50th anniversary of Kennedy's "Let's go to the moon" speech, and if people really want to dig in and read what he said, he's talked about sailing on new oceans into the future, how important this is. He wasn't just talking about 1969. He's talking about the future of this country. And right now, we need to get a hold of that future in space. Tom is right on. We need to develop something that gets us back and keeps us as a leader in space exploration. You know, there it is. How can you put together a team, like Tom said, that can do what you just saw done?
What I understand